father's job became a line in someone's book. I sat in kitchens listening to men go quiet, in a way that quiet never used to look. Nobody came to tell us why exactly. Nobody came to tell us what came next. We just watched the town go slowly empty and carried something heavy unaddressed. Then a voice came on that named it simple. Said the reason wasn't distant, wasn't vague. Said there's a face behind the empty storefront, someone who doesn't look like us to blame. And God help me, it felt like setting something down, a weight I carried years without a name. I didn't check the facts as hard as I'd have checked them on anything that hadn't brought that same relief. The crowd needs a villain, and I was glad to give it one. Not because I hate it, but because the hating felt like something done. The crowd needs a villain more than it needs to be right. And I stood there in the crowd that evening, feeling less alone for the first time in a long, long night. There was a man I'd worked beside for 15 years who didn't look the way the voice had said. He started getting looks he'd never gotten. He started hearing things I should have said weren't true instead. I told myself it wasn't him they meant exactly. I told myself the words were aimed somewhere else. But words don't stay aimed only where you send them. And I watched him start to disappear himself. He used to eat his lunch out on the loading dock. He stopped coming out around that time. I never asked him why. I told myself it wasn't mine. It took me longer than it should have, understanding that the villain that we needed wasn't him. It was the emptiness the closing plant had left there, that nobody in power moved to fill again. It's easier to hate a face you can point to than a boardroom full of men you'll never see. It's easier to blame the neighbor at the counter than to ask why nobody built a future here for me. I'm not asking you to think I'm innocent. I stood there and I let the naming happen near. I'm only telling you how good the naming felt, which is the part that no one wants to hear. The crowd doesn't need a villain out of evil. It needs a villain out of being scared. And scared is easier to leave than it is to heal. And I was led before I knew that I was scared. The crowd needs a villain, and I was glad to give it one. Not because I hate it, but but because the hating felt like